Shalom. This is Nazama Shalhamada Bar Yasharal on my channel Nazama the Hebrew Mystic Healer. Before I get started, I'd like to, as always, show some love to my 3D Ken, the 12 tribes of Israel scattered to the four corners of this third dimensional earth plane of existence. Much love and shalom to y'all. And I'd also like to show some love to my cosmic kin, scattered to the 12 dimensions of this universal egg matrix. Much love and shalom to you as well. And as always, show some love to my viewers, especially those of you who are subscribed. If you're not yet subscribed to my channel, please do so now, and don't forget to hit the notification bell. Also, if you like this channel, well, if you like the channel, you'll probably subscribe. If you like the video, be sure to hit like. Okay, so in this video, I'm going to tackle something that I've been noticing at an increasing rate, and I have actually coined a term to describe it. And it is a term which describes people being politically correct, but in spiritual communities. I call it spiritual correctness, quote, unquote. So just take whatever you know about political correctness and apply that to spiritual correctness. And I'm sure we all have a story. Those of us who have ever been in any kind of spiritual group, any kind of spiritual community, any kind of church or temple or shrine or mosque or club or what have you, anyone involved in any kind of group of other quote-unquote spiritual people have definitely experienced this at some point. I guarantee it. So I know on this channel, most of the people that are subscribed are either Starseeds or Hebrew Israelites, but there's some fringe folks on here as well, I'm sure. But either way, I know y'all have always experienced these kind of things. So just for those of you who are not quite sure what it means to be politically correct, someone that is politically correct finds it offensive when you voice your opinion if it goes against their own opinion or their own paradigm or what they've been taught or what they consider is the proper way or the right way to think or believe. So that is political correctness. It is actually becoming worse in the United States, especially, where now people are being censored. And now if you disagree with somebody, you're automatically hating on them. And that's hate. You don't think how I think, that's hate. You don't think how I think, you're judging me. We can disagree. And it doesn't have to be judgment. It doesn't have to be hate. You know, whatever happened to people just being able to disagree? You know, you can't even have like a healthy debate anymore without people getting personal, you know, resorting to insults or shaming or something. So that's political correctness. Now, the spiritual correctness is the same thing, only in the spiritual community. Now, talking to my Starseed and New Age subscribers, I know y'all have had this experience where you are sharing a very personal experience in a Starseed group or even on your Facebook page, a spiritual experience that you've had that's indicative to you. And all of a sudden people come on, well, I just don't really feel that you're really aligned to the light. That doesn't sound very love and light. That sounds like ego. Ego, right? Or, you know, I have meditated and I've, you know, talked to Ascended Master so-and-so, or I've traveled to that star system and I just don't align to that. And it's so obvious that you're really working with dark forces, right? These are the kind of responses that you'll get from spiritually correct people. The reason this happens, okay, is that whatever you are saying, however you are being authentically you, is somehow offensive to them because it doesn't align to their paradigm, or it doesn't align to what they've repressed about themselves into the shadow. So let me explain that. If somebody grows up in a Christian church, for example, and they're taught to think a certain way, to vote a certain way, to worship a certain way, to listen to a certain kind of music, they grow up completely saturated and immersed within that culture. And it is a culture, especially within the United States. Now, if they become, after they become an adult, they start thinking differently, start realizing that doesn't align to their own personal core self or their own personal views or experiences, and they show up to a family reunion and they start talking about how, well, that really doesn't align, I don't really agree with that, they're going to be ostracized, right? They're going to be told how what they think is wrong, that's not what Jesus would say, you're going to burn in hell, etc., etc. So that's an example of spiritual correctness at that level. But why is it happening? It's happening because these people believe that any kind of deterrent from that particular paradigm means that they're in the wrong. This happens all across the board. It happens in the Hebrew Israelite community. You might be posting in a Hebrew Israelite group or even on your own page, and you may be posting something they don't agree with. And so instead of them just saying, I disagree because of, A, B, and C, and here's the scripture to prove it, they can't just say that. They have to go, oh, well, that's not of the Most High. What kind of Hebrew are you? What scripture is that? So that's political correctness or spiritual correctness. If you don't align to the certain model that they have, been educated to believe in or that they align to, you are wrong. So this is all an example of people not being authentic to themselves. If you can't be authentic to yourself, if you can't look at what's in the shadow, if you can't see that the things that people are talking about are indicative to them and it's their own personal view, and you are so offended by that you have to lash out at them, then that shows that you're not comfortable in your own skin. You haven't accepted all of yourself. You definitely haven't done shadow work, or if you have it hasn't, reached its completion cycle. You know what I'm saying? So, people who know who they are and who are authentically themselves are not going to give a flying fart in space what somebody else thinks, and therefore they're not going to feel the need to jump on, somebody else's post, or to attack someone on the street, or, to get in a heated argument with somebody, randomly in a family reunion or in a group gathering. They're not gonna do that because they are already confident in who they are. They've already worked that out. They know who they are, and they don't need to prove it to anybody. But if somebody has to come out of left field and attack somebody just for having a different opinion or just for showing a sovereign expression that doesn't align to their own, they have to come on their Facebook page, they have to come in their group, they have to come up to them on the street. Maybe they're sitting there with a picket sign, or maybe they're, have a stand up or something, or they have to, knock on their door, right? That is not only a violation of sovereignty in a way, it's also showing that that person who feels the need to do that is not comfortable with who they are, because they're upset by anything that flies in the face of their own paradigm. Why would that matter to you if you were secure in who you were? And if you knew all aspects of yourself, you wouldn't be projecting your shadow onto others. Let me give you an example. A person who, for example, let's say their paradigm is you have to extinguish ego, okay? And because they have that paradigm, if you post a post that shows you have a very strong stance or very strong opinion or very strong presence, right? They're going to think, oh, that person has ego, because they feel that anything that seems individual or unique, that seems like that person has a strong sense of self, it's something negative, because they believe that they have to extinguish their own ego, and so they will repress parts of themselves that they equate with that into the shadow. So when they see someone else doing it, they're going to lash out and go, oh, ego. But if they had to extinguish their own ego, would they really be on somebody else's page out of the blue saying ego, 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 right? That actually happened to me recently, so I'll bring that up as like a personal example, right? So, like me, for myself, I don't claim to extinguish the ego. I don't even teach extinguishing the ego. So I hope that this really helped you guys understand what I'm trying to say here, that, we have to really embrace all of ourselves. We got to just let people be who they are. And hey, don't be afraid to use that term, spiritual correctness. Anyway, take care, guys. Shalom. Take care. Until next time.